Welcome back. This is still delegated legislation. Maybe I'll name it delegated legislation part 2. And we are going to look at the justification for delegated legislation. First and foremost, it reduces parliamentary workload. You see, as a parliament, it has a lot of work. It has a lot to discuss about. You get. So if it comes to dealing with the details of each and everything, I think in a year they can only handle one thing. Take an example of the civil procedure rules. If it was it was Parliament to delegate upon it, mhm, it would take years and years because it's so huge and it tackles quite a lot of stuff. So um, delegation, or the right to Parliament to delegate power to another body to make laws, kind of reduces on its workload. um Another thing is, you go through the notes, maybe for better understanding. Some matters require expertise. Yes, we said some matters that are legislated upon require expertise. We've talked about things to do with medicine, if it is COVID-19, or if it is something to do with oil, if it is something to do with technology. Not every minister, not every member of parliament is well versed with that department. So it is very important that we leave the matters of experts to the experts. So that makes it so easy or so important for Parliament to do what? To delegate its power to the experts to legislate on certain matters. You go through the work, and then uh, you can raise questions in case of anything. It creates room for legislation of laws which conform to the local needs or flexibility. Yes, we've talked about that different localities have different or unique requirements. When you look here in Uganda, when you're marrying someone, you only take omutwalo gwa taata. That is the most fundamental thing, omutwalo gwa taata. And if you're to prove that there was marriage, you have to prove that omutwalo bagusasula. And mutwalo, it's not 10k. Mutwalo can be in terms of, can I say, property. Kitaata omutwalo yasaba ntebe, oba mutwalo he asked for money, or mutwalo, the muzei can ask for anything. So mutwalo is very important in Uganda, and sometimes it's a simple thing. However, some people ask for millions of money, but it depends. But now, that is the uniqueness of Uganda. When you go to Acholi and then Lango and then, okay, those regions, they are the most, their unique nature in terms of marriage. It's heads of cattle. Someone can be asked for 20 heads of cattle, and that's little. It can even go to 80, 50, and as many as you think. So when you look at the way people behave, I don't know whether you guys have ever heard about uh, Bahima. Bahima, the way they used to marry was to find someone. Okay, you see a beautiful daughter in someone's compound. You may approach the brother first, then you come carry the daughter. You take the daughter to your home, or if you admire the girl, you take them without anyone's consent. Then late after a week, you come and they call it kwerega, like you come and report yourself that I have your daughter, I'm willing to pay a fine, and so on and so forth. So the way, if really such a law to regulate marriages in Uganda has to be done, and we want every region or every culture to remain with their unique their unique part, So they have to go and consult these people. You can't consult affairs of Gulu, you consult them from Buganda region. We together. Then we say that it creates it creates room for legislation of laws which conforms to local needs. Since the local people will be consulted, and it's very important that, unlike other laws, delegated legislation um, really, really minds about uh, the, the, the the diversity of the regions and people in Uganda. Um, another reason or justification for delegated legislation is it affords quick response to a state of emergency. Yes, uh, unlike um, unlike parliament or laws made by parliament, where it will need to go through certain stages, and then it's read first, and then after first reading it goes for second reading, then committee stage, then it goes to the for the third reading, then it goes to the presidential senate, and then takes some days, and then forth and back communication. This delegated legislation, if the parliament accords full power to the minister or to a body, and sometimes without even necessity of approving or confirming and all that, a law can be made in one day. In terms of emergency, you remember, okay, when we had the first lockdown, the minister, that is Bet Kamia, she didn't have to go through those procedures of first reading, third reading, and all that to pass a law that no more changes should be effected on the record of the of any title in the land registry. Are we together? So in case of any emergency, it delegated legislation would be the best means to provide a response. Yes, it is ideal in handling detailed matters of procedure. Yes, we said delegated legislation, including rules and regulations, they lay down detailed procedures. So they are very, very, very important for laying down detailed procedures for the main laws or main acts made by parliament, main laws made by parliament. Another justification, it can be justification, use, and maybe importance, and many others. And maybe why is it appropriate for people for the parliament to delegate? Okay, it is useful in setting and communicating a commencement date of an act of parliament. So the rationale is that usually when an act is made, there is always a subsidiary legislation or an instrument that usually communicates the date of commencement sometimes. However, sometimes the act itself can tell us that effective such and such a date, the law will be implemented. So usually they use subsidiary legislations to communicate a commencement date. Yes. Those are what some of the justifications. So we shall stop here for now. So I'll come later with another audio.